Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 7th annual Respawning Fire Game of the Year Awards. We are a real giggly crowd today. Yes, there is music indeed. This is a top-tier production that, I gotta be honest, also kind of feels like a train where the railroad tracks are being built as it's steaming on ahead. Because I have to deal with a couple of issues ahead of time in OBS. Hopefully this won't be like a repeat of that one game show. Guys, I'm going to show off your just lovely faces in just a moment. Save all the train noises for then. I am your host, Alexander Kazina, a.k.a. Cozy Bear, or rather, I should say, one of your hosts for this evening, because I am, of course, also joined by the one and only illustrious Adam Gumber. You know what? I'll say this. Normally, I would toss in a light jab at him. I'll say that he is the biggest dick in the room. And of course, because Adam doesn't really want to say a whole lot today, we are also joined by...
I didn't realize I was muted, my bad.
Chad Michael Innes.
Why am I Adam again? Here's my chuggy chuggy.
I'm not
wee,
sure.
Wee.
This is very
chuggy,
odd.
Chuggy, wee, wee.
You know what? I think I know what happened. Anyways.
Hey, now
here
you
we
get
go.
reparations.
There you go. There you are, Chad.
Wee, wee. Wee, wee. That's what a train makes.
And the next person should be Joel Campos, unless I got the video feed wrong. Nope.
Hey, I'm so handsome. I'm so handsome now.
Dude, do not confuse me with that Zordon abomination.
Seems
Our
like it's something
Chad
that
is an
I
awesome Chad.
accidentally messed up during the OBS creation process, but it's okay because next up we have Jerica Hanna joining us once again, a long and esteemed guest of Respawning Fire. I don't know. This is a real... Let me tell you, there was the podcast setting up...
Are you guys hearing Cozy? I can't...
Yeah, I can hear him.
Is he saying stuff?
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's here.
I cannot hear him.
Can you hear me?
Did you accidentally mute him? Did you mute him, Chris? Because you can mute individual people.
Hold on.
No.
Real quick.
No, I don't think
Everybody
so.
else can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do I look to see who's
Okay,
in this?
Again, I had to deal with some issues ahead of time getting this all set up.
Oh, I need
Am I
to
supposed
still
to be
be
somewhere
cozy.
other than...
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to still keep posting.
How do I see?
If there
how do
is,
I
if
see
there
who's
is a
in this?
legitimate
Like,
issue,
I genuinely
obviously
don't
let
see
me
him
know,
anywhere
but
in
don't,
this program.
joke about
Yeah, Cozy, can you not hear Chris?
it. Chris, can you speak?
Yeah, he's been speaking over you a lot. Jerica's butt's still on the screen. Yeah, you all
man.
can't hear each
Chris,
other.
try leaving and coming back.
Yeah,
I can hear Chris.
Chris, leave and come back.
Okay.
All right,
We'll let Jerica dance for the camera.
in the meantime, while Chris is rebooting and coming back, we also have Brian Bridges. I was a little desynced on that one, but hey, it's okay. How's it going, Brian?
Greetings, fellow hentai enthusiasts.
Yeah?
What
That
show am I
certainly
on?
is Brian. It certainly is Brian. This episode
Brian, there's
of
something in there with
our
the
Game of
Ruffles
the Year
has
show
ridges
is
and Brian
everything
Bridges.
I would have wanted it to be so far.
Ruffles has ridges. Is that something that's behind Joel on his sex toy wall?
And normally this is where I would transition to showing off Chris and his beautiful face, but Chris is still rebooting. The moment he comes back,
I can only
Oh.
imagine.
Hey!
and of course, last but not least, joining us as well is Chris Waterman. Look at that transition, perfectly done. How's it going?
Hey! How's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
Man, I am so glad to have you. I'm so glad to have everybody that's currently in this call together with me. Man, setting up this particular podcast was just a big old tree stump and a half. I was trying to think of a funny word for something that was real annoying. I don't know if most people find tree stumps annoying, but it came to me in the moment, so we're
Yeah,
going to go
they're
with
fucking
that.
hard to get out of the ground.
Yeah, it's a lot. I do want to say real quick, normally, you can listen to episodes of the Respawning Fire podcast on Monday on twitch.tv/AffableIdiots at 8:30 p.m. EST. Today, we are recording this episode on a Tuesday because this is our special Game of the Year episode for the year 2024, and it is our last episode for the year. Our next regular episode of the podcast, along with our Patreon exclusive stuff, will come out next in January. So yeah, go out, smell the sun, feel the earth, play in the
Smell
snow.
the sun.
Guys, my brain is just as fried as your brains are at this point. But yeah, enjoy your time while it lasts until we come back. Because when we come back, I mean, it's over. It's over. But before then, we have a top 10 list that we have to count down. The way this is going to work is very simple. I am going to reveal one by one what games scored on our cumulative combined total top 10 list. What we did is, ahead of time, I went out and I asked, hey, friends of Respawning Fire, my fellow co-hosts, send in your personal top 10 games of the year. And then I took all those lists and I basically computed them together and figured out cumulatively what our combined total top 10 game was. So for example, if Chad, put Plumbers Don't Wear Ties as his number one game on his personal list. Again,
Number
this is
one worst game of all time.
Entirely hypothetical. It would have gotten 10 points. If Jerica put, Jerica, think of a really bad game.
Oh, Jesus.
Something from Kojima.
What's those games with that super creepy horny guy that runs around the schools?
Danganronpa?
I'm sorry, what?
Slender Man? It's like an old game. He's like trying to get all the women.
Oh, Laser Shoot Larry.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. If Jerica had put Laser Shoot Larry,
I feel like that's a bad game.
At the second spot on her list, it would have gotten 9 points, and so on and so forth. And so I used all those point calculations and whatnot to figure out what our top 10 games are. Are we ready, folks, ladies, gentlemen,
Yes.
non-binary people
I am
of
ready
the
for
world,
this jelly.
to find out what our 10th game is?
Since I'm the conductor, can I kick us off with one more train whistle?
You may.
All aboard the game train!
Wow.
Oh my
You know what?
God.
Switch, baby.
Brian?
35% extra damage.
Brian, I want to say this right now. Like, you were playing just a whole lot of real annoying musical instruments and making a whole lot of annoying noises while we were getting the setup. But you had the wisdom to say one of the best musical noises for the podcast itself. You had the wherewithal to know that you should save this for this episode. And so I want to just say that I really appreciate you for that. And with that,
Totally redeemed yourself.
let's reveal our 10th game. Number 10.
Whoa.
Animal Well.
Hey!
This
Cozy,
is...
this production is awesome.
Thank you. I'm glad, as we alluded to earlier, there were a few technical issues, some bugs I had to squash ahead of the stream. I was concerned that this train was just going to go just rolling off the tracks, but it's going pretty well so far. I will say, not a game that I have played, a game that I'm very motivated to play at some point within the near future because I really love Metroidvania games, and I get the sense that a lot of our other hosts that have come here today like these sorts of Metroidvania games as well.
Jarek, I know this is all your jam. Talk about it.
This is gonna come at some point, like in the at least with my list. That a lot of the games on my list, I'm really thankful for Audrey having a little bit more free time to play through them because I haven't beat Animal Well, and I will never beat Animal Well. There's 2 games on my list that I'm like, this is so cool and neat. I'm just too dumb to finish beating this game. I'm not going to ever get through it. I'm just a big derp and I don't have the attention span. So, but yeah, Animal Well was one of those games that, like, from a style and environment, characters, I'm all up in those weird critters that are roaming this well. And as far as like a platformer goes, like, it's pretty easy just to sort of get into and start exploring. But for me, it's a little bit of a challenge because I like to have rules and I like to know where to go. And this game is just one of those that you just need to wander and explore. And I'm like, should I be going here next or here? And it never really answers that for you. So really good, great game if you just sort of want to like remove all rules and just start exploring. So, but Audrey beat it. I watched my girlfriend play through it, and just all the puzzles and like the community. There's still things in that game I'm sure people haven't figured out, but like if you go down like a rabbit hole with like people coming together and pulling clues together to figure out this one puzzle, it's cool. Like I think that game, I'm so glad it made the list because it deserves to be in the conversation for sure.
I'm in a big same mood with you.
I also played it, beat it.
Yeah, go Chris. You beat it.
Oh no, sorry. Buddy.
Well,
I did.
I'm just right there with Jericho, where it's like I played it because this was the barf game that people chose for me for consideration for Game of the Year. And yeah, it's one of those. I think Outer Wilds is like this one, where like the game just starts, and then you're like, cool, no instructions, no anything like that, and you just walk, and what do I do? And it was like really engaging for like 3 to 4 hours, but then there definitely got a point where it's like the gameplay became go back and check every single room and see if there's something that now you can do that you couldn't do before. And I was like, I don't have time for that, but this is a really
AKA
cool
Metroidvania.
Yeah. With a little less direction than Metroidvanias. But Chris, you beat it, so I feel like you have more authority here.
You're probably closer than you think. So one of the really neat things that this game does is am I not hearable again?
I hear you.
It was a little.
I hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's your video
good,
feed's
Cozy?
a little choppy, but it's okay in OBS.
All right,
so
I'm gonna
I
leave
think
and
we're
come
good.
back again because I can't hear Cozy or anything. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Yep. All right, I'll talk. Yeah. So this one also made my list. I'm on the same boat as Chad, where I had a ton of fun with it for a few hours, but then I just felt too dumb. Like Jerica said, like I don't have the mental capacity to just go back and forth between things and try and figure stuff out. Metroidvanias aren't typically my jam, but the art style, I remember Jerica and Audrey played this at PAX, and they were like, yeah, Animal Well's over in that little corner right there. You guys should check it out. And the art style is just so cool. Like, I love the neon vibe of it. The physics of the game are so cool. Go ahead, Chad.
Speaking of back and forth, there is a trophy in this game called Back and Forth Forever.
Right, I'm going to disable my...
I'm pretty sure it's a reference to the video Pooping Back and Forth, which is hysterical to me that this person also knew what that was. So if you don't know what Pooping Back and Forth is, go listen to it after you listen to this podcast. It's like from an old movie, and these kids are like Googling and like pretending to chat to people on AOL and some Messenger, and they're trying to figure out what do grown-ups think sex is, and it's pooping back and forth in each other. It's weird. It's so funny. It's so fucking funny. And the fact that there's probably a reference to it in this game just delighted me.
An old movie where people are Googling. Okay,
they're fucking Jeevesing or whatever it is.
No, that's just not that old, I'm saying.
They're using AOL and
than
Messenger, so whatever that, the 1990s. Sorry, some of us are not born in 1981, like Chad Michael Murray, and are old as shit.
I got to the part where I don't even know how far along in the game I am, but I assume I'm getting there because I unlocked all 4 of the animal statues in the background. Went down to the pit, found out that it was a do everything perfect as in this allotted amount of time type of a puzzle next, and said, all right, I've beaten the game as much as I'm concerned. Maybe I'll go back and play it one day, but fuck that shit.
Cool.
I had fun though. I liked it. It was creative. It's not there's a blessing that it had of everybody saying, this game has so many unexpected things. And it's also a curse because it got my hopes up probably higher than they should have been. There was a couple unexpected things, but...
Chris, everything cool on your end?
Yes, I think so. I disabled some ad blockers and things.
Okay.
So hoping that maybe stabilizes. I'm not really sure. But I'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, I'll just add, I think you guys are all really close. Like, it sounds like you're really close, both pretty close to the end if you got to the point where you're at 3 or 4 animal statues. And I think probably one of my favorite things about this game is how it snowballs. I played it simultaneously alongside my wife, and it was interesting to see where we ended up in the map, like in different orders. And I don't know, I think it cleverly comes together by the end of it, and it's really, really satisfying when you do overcome one of those barriers of where do I go next? What do I do?
I think that Chris has dropped out of the call.
No, he
still
hasn't.
hear him.
Still here?
Yeah.
Huh.
I can still see him on your screen.
That's odd. All right. Well, Everything good,
See
Chris?
him on Twitch.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I'm so sorry. If this is my fault, I'm sorry. I
It's
promise.
It's
not-
all right.
I don't think it's your fault.
It's all right.
It's
Chris,
something
I
with the
want to let you
connection.
know, I want to plant a seed for later on in the show. I'm actually very grateful for your participation on this episode and specifically your top 10 list. For what reason, we will be revealing later on, but
Spoilers.
I just wanted to see that right
Plumbers
now to
don't
let you
wear
know that
ties.
I appreciate you and that, yes, we are dealing with some technical issues, but you are appreciated and loved, and you can continue with
thanks,
your
man.
thoughts on the game.
No, that's it really. Like I liked how this all came together. I did feel a little bit of what Chad referenced, which is like I started getting a bit frustrated towards the end, and then once like I got that avalanche rolling, like it was very, very quick to all come together and be wrapped up. So I didn't do the 100% stuff, though. I will add. I know some crazy folks out there went and found every egg, and I had my fill with just the main game. So
I got
hear
really
y'all-
good at bubble jumping, and just because I did that, I
Oh,
feel like a
yeah.
winner.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Bubble jumping and frisbee flying. Those
Yeah.
were the two. Those were the two fun ones.
I did that by accident
That's
the
cool.
first time, the frisbee
Yeah.
flying, and I was so excited. I was like, "Oh,
We did
shit."
too.
That's the trophy.
part of-
That's the
it's-
pooping back and forth trophy.
Fantastic.
Are we ready for number 9?
Spaghetti.
All right, let's go. Number 9. EA Sports College
Whoa.
Football 25. I think 2 people here are really, really happy that this game made it on the list.
Two coolest guys in
Jeff
the
didn't
room.
even nominate.
Yeah.
You can go
This
first.
game
Joe.
is awesome. This game is awesome. College football finally back after a 10-year hiatus, and it's better than ever. Me and Adam play this game daily. The two of us were in an online dynasty league where we play with other people. It's been a ton of fun. This is the game, like, when I launch my Xbox every day, this is the first thing I launch. Because it's like I got to get at least my daily game in. See, and if it's not in, like if the week hasn't advanced since I played last, I'm fucking messaging these dudes in Discord like, yo, get your game in. We're waiting, and it's usually Adam who's 2 days behind. No, I'm just kidding. It's me because I go out of town all the time. But yeah,
All those
it's
weddings.
super it's super addicting. It's super fun. Yeah, I'm glad college football's back. Now I want college basketball to come back.
Is there something in this game that wasn't in the previous entries? Like, since it's been gone so long, did they add anything new? Is there a campaign? I feel like football has
No.
campaigns now, and I think that's
There's
really
a-
cool.
Jericho,
I need a story, a romance. What do we have? What do we have?
Long shot. It's a long shot.
yeah, Jericho, there is probably less content in this game than was in the game
Okay.
10 years ago.
If it was real college
it's a
football,
good
you'd be
thing.
able to go to all the parties and have a lot of sex and drink.
I was going to say, you would be able to pour that like super slimy, like Kool-Aid, Gatorade, whatever it is, aid all over yourself.
Yep.
Just get real sticky
That's
on the
what I
field.
did in college
That's
football
what I did at
times.
parties. Yeah.
But no, I'm with Joel. It's the thing where I was debating, like, should I put this on my list or not? And then I was like, I got my end of the year wrap, whatever, like, oh, here's what you've done. It's like, oh, you've played 400 hours of college football 25. I was like, well, maybe I should put it on the list. I would, Joel, though. It was fun to have it back. It's just like you've missed it, you know what I'm saying? And then for me to care that much about a sports game, because I play sports games once in a while, and I'll start them and I'll stop them, and it is what it is. But it's really hard for a game to hook me like that. And I don't know, it's just wonderful. Everything about it. It feels like an old blanket wrapping around you. And the gameplay is fun. And, of course, all the pageantry of... I think it was supposed to come out last year, and they're like, we're going to delay it because every stadium needs to have their own thing. Like, every team needs to have their specific thing that every team has. Even if you're playing as, you know, the University of Buffalo, which no one has ever been to in their life. They're like, we got to make sure that the stadium looks right, and then the fans look right, and they have their traditions and stuff. So they did that
Is
for
that the
100.
Bills or is that an NFL team?
No, it's a college team. It is an NFL team, Chad. Good job. But no, there are 134 teams. They're like, we have to make sure every one of these stands out because every team is someone's favorite team, even if it's a team people have never heard of before. Yeah, and the gameplay is a ton of fun. It's just the college game feels a little different. And again, I'm with you. I was like, a sports game. I was like, no, like this is my most played game of the year, so I'd be crazy not to. And it's great. I don't know if I'll be this jazzed next year about it, but for the time being, like, again, like when I get done with this, I got a game to go do. So
do.
super good. Good stuff. I'm glad it's number 9. I'm glad it's on the
I gotta
list.
go get a lot of solo chests in Destiny and Guardian Salvation.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
but
you
can you
definitely have to do that solo.
Can you recruit a guy named Bobby Hill? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you'll get random people.
Probably.
Maurice's Pieces.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people with really, really fun names in Destiny. So.
Oh, yes.
Okay. My favorite recruit I had was Tyree McGoulahan.
Yeah, McGoulahan is good. Who was your linebacker? Like Thunderstruck or something? What was that kid's name?
Oh, yeah. His name was Kyrie Thunderbird. It was awesome.
God, what a good game. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
And with that, I think we're ready for number 8. Number 8. Black Myth Wukong. Chad, your boy is here. Your boy is finally here. Your boy that I spent about 3 hours in and I enjoyed fine, but then I got distracted and had to do other stuff with. So I will leave it mostly to the other experts to speak about this game. Go for it.
I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I do still have nightmares about the thumbnail image of Chad as Black Myth Wukong character.
I think those are called Wet Dreams.
I want to say that video in particular was one of our more highly viewed videos of the entire year. A lot of people tuned into that episode. That's actually
like,
I'm
what the
sure
fuck
that's
is this? Who is this awful character?
They put it on while they go to sleep, and they just put it on repeat so they can have wet dreams
from their tears.
This game, I just got the platinum trophy in it last week. I think 2 weeks ago, something like that. This is a game that just continued to surprise me, and it has. I know the kind of funny chant is Black Myth Wukong's combat bad? No, it's just not great. But I would beg to differ that it is incredibly flexible. There's a lot of different ways you can use all of these different skills. The progression is incredibly gratifying because you're always leveling up and unlocking some new part of some skill, and you can reallocate things on the fly super easily. But then there's just the secrets and every single thing that they want you to explore, even though they have a lot of invisible walls in there, leads to something great. So I got a lot of satisfaction from this game sexually and also fulfillment as a video gamer. Really enjoyed it. I'm very much looking forward to the boss rush mode that they just hinted at. And I think they said DLC is coming too. So yeah, very, very into this game. I think it has really high production values. It is technically an indie game. It is an independent developer that a publisher along with it. So that bumps it up a little bit too. But it also, I'm starting to get a little bit of that like I feel gross owning a Tesla because Elon Musk runs that company. A little bit, I'm having a little bit about that CEO. There's all that controversy of the fact, Game Science, their logo is a sperm. And also that all of those different, misogynistic comments and things like that from the CEO of that company. Is there a little bit of I'm a little grossed out and a little ashamed that I like this game so much, but also I just benefit of the doubt. Who knows? Maybe he won't turn out to be a Nazi like Elon Musk. So
Adam's drunkenly
100% recommend.
Typing that shit in.
Looks like a sperm, all right.
Yeah.
I had an interesting sort of twofer relationship with this game in that this is how I field tested my PlayStation Portal.
Oh,
I was like, if this works well with this game, then this is a worthy purchase. Otherwise, I'm going to be very, very upset. So I played the first 20 hours of this game while away on the PS Portal, and it worked great. So I both was happy about my purchase and also really enjoyed the game. I think as somebody who's a massive Souls fan, I was a little bit nervous anytime there's sort of a Souls spinoff. I know they said ultimately they didn't view it that way. I think it still is very much a Souls in a lot of ways. But I appreciated the abilities that you can unlock. Respecing on the fly was huge. I wish more games would do that. I don't think it takes anything away from the experience personally. I think it allows you to approach combat as a puzzle, and that's really, really neat. And then of course just the style and the overall tone and spirit of the game was something I really vibed with. I liked how much humor there was in certain moments. It was surprisingly lighthearted and sort of fun. Anime as fuck at times, which I also just really
and also legit
some
anime.
Of those fights were just
every chapter has its own different. They call them music videos in the thing, but some of them are just animated stories. One of them stop motion. One of them is legit anime. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. I had a great time though. Love this game.
Alrighty. And with that, it's on to lucky number 7. Number 7. Prince of Persia,
Whoa!
The Lost Crown. And here we go. This was a game that I played, beat, and platinumed, but I actually did not put on my top 10 list. It was very nearly on there, but it kind of got bumped down by a couple of other games. I will say, while I don't think that I perhaps enjoyed this Metroidvania as much as other people, I do think it is a very, 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 very strong title all the same. It's really unfortunate that, that studio effectively no longer exists, because that studio over in Ubisoft Montpellier, has a great lineage working on great games. Obviously, outside of this one, you have Beyond Good and Evil, you have Rabbids Go Home, which was like a Rabbids platforming game where you're driving around in a shopping cart that released during the Wii days. You have Rayman Origins, Rayman Legends, and this game, which I think in many ways was sort of a culmination of all these strengths of all those prior titles. And yeah, unfortunate that this studio ended the way it did, but I suppose if you can take solace in the fact that they went out on a really high note.
So who did put it on?
I legit,
list?
when they
It's 'cause
accepted their game award, I was like, Is there someone there to accept it? Didn't that studio close down?
Those people still work there. They just don't work on that team. They're all somewhere else. But so it was me and Chris, I guess, who put it on the list then.
That was my other game that I'm thankful my girlfriend's a real gamer and played it, but I watched enough to know that this was something special for real, because I think it's neat when a developer can take an IP that's known for this other type of gameplay or whatever and turn it into something new that has a fresh story, and then also be a great Metroidvania game. Like, as far as like I could tell, like if anyone is like me, a little bit derpy with some of those games, and like if it has a little bit of a learning curve, it's almost like I just don't have time to get great at it before I want to play something else. This seems like it's a little bit more approachable. I will at some point get to it, because it seemed like I was playing stuff over here and I'd peek. She's like playing over there. And I'm like, oh, that looks cool. And I'd watch the story, and then like all the upgrades and how you, everything seemed really snappy and like really reactive for anyone that's played it. I haven't actually played it, so sorry. I'm one of those people right now. But yeah, recapping what I just said, I think it deserves to be on the list. It's a shame that these people aren't working on the next thing for this title, because they had DLC come out, right?
Yeah,
it came out like a couple of months ago. So, anywho, it looks awesome. Apparently the accessibility options are also phenomenal, and I can appreciate that, just like being able to tweak the game to better suit me and my play style and how I could approach it. So, sort of like Celeste. I think about Celeste a lot when I hear those kind of features, and I'm always a big advocate of those, because I like to play my game sometimes on really super duper easy, because I just need time, or I need more time to dedicate to other things. So, yeah.
That is, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what they won the Game of the Year award for their accessibility. Yeah. And that's one of those things where even I experienced some of that. I definitely played around with the difficulty options a lot and took advantage of that feature where you could take screenshots of areas of interest so that you can, quickly check through your notes and be like, oh yeah, right, there was that one area that I should go back and check out at some point in the future when I have the proper abilities to be able to properly explore.
I remember reading about that one, and Chad knows, and Joel, like, I have a horrible memory. I cannot remember. I can barely see colors, right? And I can't tell if things are glowing in the dark, And sometimes it helps knowing where to go next. I just need help. So that's really cool. I remember reading about that now. It's neat.
I would have played it if Ubisoft wasn't the worst.
Oh, listen. I was this close to winning over Cozy this year as Ubisoft.
I started playing it, and they're like, I got the demo, and I was like, this looks dope. And then they were like, you need an Ubisoft account, and you have to always be online. And I was like, fuck off, man. There's so many other Metroidvanias and even indie Metroidvanias I could be supporting right now. So,
with that said, Brian,
well, instead,
what if I told you this one? Well, I'll let Chris go, because let Chris, the other person who played it. I love all of the little quality of life things on top of the accessibility stuff. Again, I like the movement. I like that the combat is more like thought provoking. You can't just go in there and hack and slash. But I love that it's just like, hey, instead of having a weird map and having to remember where you go back to for the Metroidvania part, take a snapshot. Like, what? They just do like a lot of really smart. So they're like, everyone knows what Metroidvania is. Why don't we do a bunch of quality of life things that make that more fun and enjoyable? And then they do it in an awesome game with a cool art style and really cool character. I adore this game. I played the demo at PAX West. I was like, this is going to be a hit, and it came out, and everyone loved it. It reviewed well. No one bought it, which sucks. But it's a great game, and I'll let Chris speak more on it because I am feeling warm and cozy. You know what I'm saying, Chris?
I don't have much to add. I think this is like a great example of, if you give me the ability to like buy the map that shows me where everything I missed is, I will 100% your map. Like, so I did that. Like, you'd clear an area and then a map would become available, and it's like, do you want to see where the rest of the collectibles are? Like, sure, I'll do that. The one minor misstep in this game for me was they have these platforming challenges that were way too long for like 100 gold. Like the reward was just not worth it at all, and that was a little like head scratchy because I was like, well, no, I'm not going to ever do these because it's taking me a really long time to clear one, and I'm not getting something that is going to like help me progress the game or give me something cool. That's a minor misstep though. I love the art style. I think that's this game basically executes very well on very well-established tropes and sort of mechanics and design. The art style really stands out though. I think like that's what sets that apart. Like the amount of times I go to a new area and just my jaw would hit the floor from what was going on in the background and, you know, the enemy types and all that kind of stuff was awesome.
Yeah. Real quick, with regards to the platforming challenges, are you referring to like some of the challenges that were made available via the like free DLC update like a few months after the game launched?
It's the little portal that you would walk into in the hub area. I forget what that's called.
Yeah, because I think that might have been a free update, and I ran into the exact same thing as you, where that thing opens up early on, but it's really meant for people that have already beaten the game and just want some extra challenge. And so I too was like, yeah, it's a little bit weird that like you're doing this like 50-minute platforming challenge and you only get like 200 like whatever the resource in the game was called. Even though, all that said, I still enjoyed those platforming challenges. They were pretty, it was pretty fun figuring out how to best them. And with that, I think we are ready for the next number. Number 6. Hades 2.
Wow.
Hey-ya!
Now, if this wins again next year, I won't be pissed.
That is,
Unless it wins against a fucking Naughty Dog game.
Oh, yeah,
it's
here we
not
go.
impossible. I did not play this game this year. Not impossible. I might play this game next year, and it could creep onto our list then.
I will say that is the thing about, because Cozy, when he came to us for this Game of the Year list, he said, anything you have played in 2024 can be on this Game of the Year list. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, watch. My heart's number 3.
Yeah, I don't
Keep
know
playing games with my heart.
But I was like, absolutely, okay, I'm putting Hades on here, because even that game being early access, they've done some big updates since the game's come out, even though it's not full 1.0 yet. Day 1 of early access of Hades 2, I'm like, yo, this is easily a top 3 game of the year for sure. I mean, it's everything that Hades 1 is. The early access version of Hades 2 is everything Hades 1 is, but better and more. And I'm just like, I don't know how y'all did this in early access. I adore all the characters. I mean, again, that game is full of horny characters who are really cool, and you want to talk to them and hang out with them. There's so many new areas to go in. The way that this character plays compared to Zag is 100 times better. I like her much more. She's a lot more magic based, and instead of just hack and slash, there is hack slash ability, but everything about this game is more and better. And I was like, I can't believe y'all just dropped this, and it's like there's more in this game already, and they're not even done with it yet. So yeah, the minute I played it, I was like, easily. And I don't remember where I put it in my final list, but it was high up there, very high up there. So yeah, when that game goes full 1.0, I hope next year people give it even more love than it has. But even based on this, I'm like, you've got to get all the flowers, because this is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's quite insane, like how much there was to do. I think I probably dropped 45 hours like into this just early access, and then like I basically got as far as I could go in each of the paths that are available, and was like, all right, I'm not going to max out my hub area because there's resources to gather and like cool little grocery lists that you can kind of go out into the world and get stuff. Like, I just never felt like there was a wasted moment, but I did want to hold a little bit back for full release because I'm like, well, I don't want to like spoil my, dinner here, like fill it up on appetizers. But yeah, that's going to be a phenomenal game when it launches. I can't wait to see where the story goes. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think this character, like so far, has a much more compelling story, in my opinion. It's a bit more of a mystery than Zagreus had. And yeah, I don't know. I can't wait to see where they go.
The fact that they added characters and new stuff into they did a big update. And I played more of it. I'm like, I haven't even met, spoiler, Ben Starr is one of the characters. And I'm like, I haven't even met his character yet. And I'm like, I've been playing more of this thing. So, yeah, I might just finish whenever 1.0 comes out and restart and do the whole thing. But that game is, I don't know how an early access game is better than the first one, which was already a Game of the Year contender when it came out. So, shout out to Supergiant, because that's good shit.
Cool. Any other thoughts to share on Hades 2? No?
Give me more. Give it to me soon.
Oh yeah. And I will definitely take a stab at this game next year. Before we move into the latter half of the list, Joel, you posted on Blue Sky Game of the Year. You will never guess what number 5 is. Do you have any guesses of what number 5 could be?
I have no clue. I don't know. No guesses.
Just take a random stab, random shot in the dark.
Helldivers.
All right, let's find out what it is. Number 5. Helldivers.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Ah, man. Now that is a clippable moment. Hell yeah.
Got it. Got him. Helldivers 2. It's such a good game. I love this game. It made my list solely because I put like over 100 hours into it in like the first few months it came out, and then haven't played it since, really. Like I've come back here and there when there's been content updates, but that game, it's so addicting. It's super fun. If you have a crew to play it with, it makes it much, much better, obviously, as with any, cooperative game like this. But yeah, what a blast. This game is just so much fun, and just the stupid stuff that can happen when somebody throws a giant bomb where they shouldn't throw a bomb, or they throw it and you don't see it. It just, the silly moments like that make this game so much fun to come back to.
I agree. I think like if Destiny wasn't coming out like shortly after, we would have kept playing a little bit more. But I do like just the fact that it was a huge win and continues to be a huge win, just to say like, okay, Sony, like these are the kinds of like live service games, like projects we need in this phase. Cause like, I think it's not, there's not too much there. It's sort of simple to what kind of game it is. And I think just keeping that simple structure and not trying to do 50 million things, is a win. And then, yeah, to Joel's point, it's just silly. And like, they stick to, they know what their North Star is with that game, and they keep adding content. I want to play soon. We got to do it with the
we got to play all the new update stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As it stands,
they added the new vehicle, which is called a Puma, which is a direct reference from Red vs. Blue.
Didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I've not played.
I currently have. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've not played Helldivers 2 or the new update. I like that the zombies in the new update are called the Voteless. I thought that's very, very clever. In very much in line with the weird kind of fascistic narrative of that whole world.
It's super democracy. It's not fascism. Come on, man.
I'm sorry.
Get with the lore.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Clearly, I've not played Helldivers 2, nor do I know anything about it.
Brian, please
I currently have 278 hours in this game.
Wow.
Holy vagina berries.
My family and I play it on weekends, and my 73-year-old father adores this game, and
I love it
to a degree He's worn out his laptop keyboard, and he has to like press the W very hard to get it to go, and it's worn all the paint off.
Get him. Does he need a keyboard? I'll send him one.
Well,
we got extra, only because I'm trying to get rid of some.
Once he learns something, he can't really unlearn it, so he's tried other keyboards. He bought like a half keyboard for just the WASDA. He's even tried a game controller, and he can't switch over. He can't mentally do it. But anyway, it's a beautiful game. I don't play online with randos ever in any game, and yet I do with this game, and that tells you I want to play. That's how badly I want to play. Is I'll go online with randos.
This is the game that made me not finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in any good amount of time. Like, this came out, a week after Rebirth did? And it completely broke my momentum with that game, and we were just doing this. Felt like every single night. It felt like COVID again, when we were all just fucking mainlining Warzone and Siege and all these other games, but it was just Helldivers. It was so much fun. And the game is so clippable. Like, it is perfectly, like, the perfect game for social media. It's just great. And I love that it has this unique, quirky identity. And it's not just this generic, boring, just like everything else type thing. So, big fan.
Gotta try the new content. It's big spooky.
And with that, we're ready to move on to the next number. Number 4. Destiny 2, The Final Shape. I feel like Chad is just really satisfied with this list so far.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, knock off college football. No, keep college football so that my friends come in and stay with me. But, yeah, everything else on this. Destiny 2 Final Shape, just fucking... There's a level in The Last of Us where you are just in the thick of it. Clickers coming at you, heart rate, blood pressure way up, and you are just exhausted. And then Ellie runs up the ladder and screams, and you think she's being captured, and she sees a giraffe instead. And it is just this wonderful, beautiful moment. And that's what Destiny 2 The Final Shape was. After we emotionally almost became vegetables because of Into the Light and fucking the Pantheon, and then the Final Shape comes in, is this beautiful campaign, this breath of fresh air, this incredible raid that kept us... We were up until like 3 o'clock in the morning, Jerica throwing up so that she could get out of work, so that she could play this with us the next day.
The chicken patties.
It wasn't even chicken patties, it was veggie patties.
I was trying to keep myself awake so I could perform, but I was slowly dying. And that's why I had to call out. You know,
what a fucking really great cap on that story, though, and such a great way to take like all the light and the dark coming together and make prismatic, and it's just the culmination of everything. It was incredible. It was fantastic.
They landed the plane, and there was a really, it's been a really rocky time over at Bungie, so I was really concerned if this would be bittersweet just for how much time we put into it. But no, I think the campaign, the story was wrapped up perfectly. Like, I'm so happy we got to experience that together, and maybe some of the stuff before the campaign, not really, but the whole story, like the expansion itself was successful in my eyes, and definitely something that I will never forget for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely, like you said, the perfect ending to the whole Light and Dark saga. And if you've kept with Destiny over the last 10 years, on and off, that this game has had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in terms of like content and playability of the game. And I think the Final Shape was probably the highest of high that game has had. And like Jerica said, they landed the plane, and it was a great place to get off the plane for a little bit, because between Pantheon,
it was time for us to go to the bar.
Between Pantheon, dude, we played so much Pantheon that I didn't want to be awake anymore. I just wanted to go sleep for 10 days.
We just wanted to die.
It was the most stressful 2 weeks of my life. It was so stressful. But anyway,
it's coming back.
Not doing it again.
I'm not coming back. It was a great ending point to that story. Great place to get off of that plane. I'm sure I'll be back in Destiny at some point. Like Chad sent us a text the other day. New dungeons coming out in February, I think. I'm sure I'll come play that a few times.
Eastern time or Pacific time.
Let's go.
Nice.
But yeah, super good story to end that expansion.
I think the only thing that probably if this would have been number one on my spoilers for my list, it's not number one on my list. This would have been number one if Adam just would have played with us at all.
Wow.
I don't want to hear it.
Whoa.
I literally asked them to play with me constantly, and they refused to do it. I don't want to hear this shit.
No,
Shut the fuck up.
the beacon was out.
Yo, let me tell you, just random aside, I actually never played the Final Shape, but Destiny 2, I think, was the second or third most played game on my Xbox this year. So, let's chill out. So I played the game. You didn't play with me. That's all I'm saying.
You didn't play with us.
Okay, I hear you.
Joel had to go to work one day, and it was 2 a.m, and we were trying to figure out who was going to play his 6th spot, and Adam didn't answer the call.
Wow.
Yeah.
Real quick before we move
Cozy
on.
disappeared from my screen again, so I'm gonna I have quick thoughts to add on this. I'm really sorry. It made it for a while, so give me just a second.
Not an issue. While Chris is dealing with that, I don't know why, but the cool purple cascading background video behind us has been stuttering a little bit. So nobody panic. It's going to go black for just a moment, and then it's going to reappear.
My gourd.
And there we go. Chris, go right ahead.
So sorry again. Yeah. So I played Destiny since the beta of the OG. A couple things I'll add. I feel like the Destiny community has always been one of the most loyal, rabid fan bases. They've stuck with this more or less through all the good times, the bad times. I think there was really high expectations for this. And the moment that sealed this for me as one of the all-time great Destiny moments and campaigns and all that was the raid getting cleared. And it felt insurmountable, by the way, for a good week for us. I was just I don't know if we're ever going to beat this, even with contest mode off. And we did. But waking up that next morning and saying, hey, don't worry, you get to participate in the conclusion, even though you didn't conquer the raid. And the community waking up and everybody jumping in that 6-person or 12-person. Sorry, yeah,
So many people.
Massive just mega battle that felt so Avengers Endgame, and not feeling like you missed out on that moment because you weren't the first group to beat the raid. It felt like such a community effort, and I loved it, man. I remember sitting in party chat with people I've played with for 10 years, and just you could hear everyone choking up and being not necessarily for the game moment, but just it felt like it was a watershed friendship moment, right? Where it's man, can you guys believe we've been playing this game 10 years and seeing your guardian posing at the end, I don't know, it was beautifully presented. I think for expectations that were high, I think they mostly nailed it.
Yep. Cool.
They did.
All right. And with that,
Yeah.
let's move on to the top 3.
I know this top 3, by the way.
Number 3. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Wow.
Mild shock.
And that's it for... Oh, no, wait! And...
What?
Balatro.
Wow!
There's a tie?
Twist!
Adam, did you know that was in the top 3?
Yeah, no, I knew the top 3. I didn't know the order, but very cool. Now that there's a 2 and a 1, now you've thrown me off. I thought in the top 3, now there's a tie. I don't know. Yeah, the monkey wrench is in there, and the monkeys are acting up.
This is quite a feast for everyone here. It's also a feast for me because these are 2 games that I played, beat, and loved very much. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we talked so much about this on Respawning Fire content earlier this year. We did an entire spoiler cast with Jerica and...
Kyle, the lore
Kyle.
daddy himself. Thank
Kyle.
God he can tell me what
Who
is happening in this game.
Was fantastic on that episode. As he said, definitely go back and listen to our spoiler cast, because Kyle and the rest of us had so many interesting things to say. Ultimately, even though this wasn't a game that I felt motivated to go back and platinum because it seemed a little bit too overwhelming, I can't deny that this game had some of my favorite moments in a video game this year, be it Red 13 doing his Michael Jackson Zaboomafoo dance on the boat that culminates in a Queen's Blood card game competitive finale, to everything that happens in the kind of final few hours of the game, as we, explore an unwound future, as I think they said at the end of the original Final Fantasy VII remake. This game was thrilling from beginning to end, even if it was very, 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 very large.
Yeah, this is one I have not beaten yet. Much like Chad said, Helldivers 2 kind of derailed me from playing through the story of this. And then by the time they announced the PS5 Pro and they said this game was going to be enhanced, I was like, oh, I'll go back to it when I get a Pro. And now I have my Pro and I'm just too busy playing other games, which I'm sure one of them we'll talk about in the near future here. But yeah, I'm excited to get back to this game. The PS5 Pro update to this game looks like it does a significant amount of upgrade to it compared to what the game looked like previously, with like the backgrounds looking really bad, or when you're in 60 FPS mode, which I prefer to play in, the game just looks really rough on an OG PS5. So yeah, I'm excited to get through this story even further.
I did not quite put this on my list, and I really had a lot of internal debate. I enjoyed this game a lot. I think some of the bloat, and there was a lot of bloat, kind of kept this off my list. I will give it kudos for occasionally pushing you towards having to do mainline content periodically. I think that was a smart design choice, because I'm that person that I unlock the tower, I go do all the stuff, I unlock the next tower, I go do all the stuff. And I like that occasionally it was like, nope, you can't go explore anymore, go enjoy some of the story content. I think for the mainline stuff and then the mini games and all that stuff, it was phenomenal. I never played the original Final Fantasy VII, so I am experiencing this story arc with fresh eyes. So
Same.
I have no idea what's changed.
I'm just here
what's
for
different.
the ride.
Yeah, and I'm liking
here.
it. Yeah, it's fantastic. It was this close to making my list, but I it barely got bumped off. So
I thought this game did a really great job of adapting the original third of the game that it's adapting, while also making it giving little nods and throwbacks and things like that to it in a modern way, and adapting that. I thought that was really cool and clever. This was definitely bloated, I would say, for sure, a little bit in there, especially as you start doing those fucking Cactuar things with Aerith. Made me want to claw my fucking eyes out. But you didn't have to. You only had to do one of those for each of them. But if you're a madman like I am, you go back and get everything you need for the Platinum Trophy, then you do all those things. This game was at a disadvantage, I think, just because of the source material and the fact that it's the chunk of the game where not much happens. And so it is just go out and explore, do some mini games, learn a little bit about Barrett, learn a little bit, go kiss somebody on a Ferris wheel, whatever it is. Yeah, kissing people on Ferris wheels, Adam. Some of them might be underage.
Oh, that's great.
Gotta be careful.
Might be dogs.
Gotta be careful. That your game might end right there in that chapter.
Someone's knocking on your door.
But no, yeah, this game was a technical achievement. It was incredible, a faithful adaptation, and I cannot wait for the third one. And I am excited to replay these chapters on hard for the final trophy that I need.
Shifting over to Balatro, this is a game that I played at the urging of my co-hosts on the Respawning Fire podcast, and I'm really glad I did, because this game was just so incredibly addictive from the kind of early stages of just struggling to figure out the base mechanics of the game, figuring out what kinds of plays are best to play, what kind of jokers are good, to getting into it many dozens of hours later and just crafting all sorts of elaborate strategies involving weird and arcane jokers to figure out how to just rack up those points. I've basically done pretty much everything there is to do in the game at this point. I've beaten the game on gold stake difficulty. I have no reason to keep playing it, but I still find myself drawn back to it over and over. I've been going through a bunch of the challenges, which I completely ignored during the first 60 hours I spent with this game. And those challenges are challenging, but with all of my know-how that I've gained over the course of beating this game, I am making my way through them, and they are just as fun as ever. The fact that this was made by a single person in Canada, no less, is very, very inspiring.
It makes sense. That's the only way you'll have enough time to do all this is if you're single.
Did you guys ever convince Adam to play this game?
Yeah. That's the one. This would be number one if Adam would have played it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Almost like it was number one on my list because I'm the one who played it first. This game is. I by the way, shout out to Woot, who was the guy who went up on stage and accepted the award for all the Balatro stuff, because that's the guy who was like, "Hey, you should play this game for review," and I'm like, "Whatever you say," and I was like, "Fuck, this game is great." That game, it's simplistic and addictive, right? It's like you're playing cards, but then it's like, I don't know, why don't you just play cards for 40 hours in the first week that you have this game? I don't know what it is, man. Again, I think simplicity helps it out. You're just playing poker hands, but it adds an extra fun layer onto it. And I legitimately play that game for 40 or 50 hours. A card game where you play poker hands. It's that good. And again, I would suggest it to literally anybody. Again, it's on Apple Arcade, it's on mobile, it's on literally every console. Fucking play it literally for 30 minutes and tell me that you don't play it for another 30 hours. It is excellent, and everyone should definitely check it out. There's no bad. It's just good. You're good. It's a good game. You play games and they're good. I don't know what to tell you.
I will check it out if Chad and Cozy recommend it to me.
Yep, I recommend it.
I would never recommend it. No way.
I played it last week for the first time because I knew for a fact, based on what I was reading and what I've seen, I'm like, that's dangerous. I'm not going to play it. But I wanted to get my hands on it before we did this episode specifically. And yeah, I haven't been playing for 30 hours, but I did play for 30 minutes and it turned into another hour of me playing. So no, it's a good game for sure. It deserves all the awards. I love it.
The reason it's number 3, though, actually, no, I do wish that it had some kind of carrot at the end. I wish there was some kind of mystery or narrative thing. It feels so mysterious. What is the thing behind the Jokers? What something to draw me to play it further. I did the 8 out of 8 quote unquote beat the game kind of thing, and then it's we've unlocked more decks for you, and then I was like, cool. I feel like I can quit here because there's nothing. Narrative is a weird word to say about this game.
No,
not every game can be Inscription.
That's why I love Inscription.
Inscription is the one.
Inscription is in my top 10 somewhere for sure. That's just but yeah, that would have been really cool. I didn't think about that, Chad. So maybe it's in the sequel. I'm intrigued. I want that. I love when my card games have stories now and romance.
You and this romance, you've been talking about a lot.
I know. He loves the smooches.
Do we need to tell Audrey to pay more attention to you?
No, I'm just trying to romance all these people in Dragon Age. That's all I'm doing. That's the only game I play is romancing in Dragon Age. I feel like.
Shit, that's wild that Dragon Age didn't even make our top 10. Wait a minute.
I will say, before we move on to the next one in the list, I can't deny that I love myself an Inscription, which is a card game that also has a really robust story on top of it. That said, this game has a ton of personality. I loved unlocking new Jokers and seeing what weird new card they came up with, be it what's the banana card? The Gros Michel, which I should know because I do live in a place where people speak French a lot, or castles, or all sorts of weird stuff that they came up with for that stuff that I thought was really, really, it definitely was the cherry on top that kept me motivated to keep playing and unlock new stuff. And with
I'm going to date myself. Oh, sorry. Really. This just reminds me. Oh, can you hear me, Cozy? Am I drop off again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say this just reminded me of back in the day when all you had was Solitaire and Free Cell on your computer, and you would just spend hours and hours and hours playing that. Sometimes that's all you need.
We got Spider Solitaire.
Oh yeah,
what day that was.
Feasting that plus the Microsoft Pinball. Yeah, but yeah, sometimes simple is best. I think for something like that. So yeah,
for sure. And with that, let's move on to the next game. Number 2. Dragon Age.
What?
The Veilguard.
It's time to have sex. I really hope there's sex in this game. I've been playing this for a long time. I haven't seen any
It's-
sex yet.
Veilguard time.
Did I say that too loud?
No,
There better be a
you made a
payoff.
good point. There is.
I'm
let
working
me say,
hard.
You'll get some
Huh?
spicy scenes depending on who you're with.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the only reason I play BioWare games, because I'm a freak.
Yeah, I'm real hard for Harding. You know what I mean?
It's my bumper sticker.
Yeah,
Hard for
I love
Harding.
it. I love Veilguard. I haven't beaten it. I know we were talking about this before the show, I think, but have not beaten it. But I'm addicted. I got a PlayStation Portal earlier this week, and it has upped my playtime of this significantly. Being able to play it on the Portal. This game's awesome. I love how simple it is for an RPG. Like, it's not too in the weeds. Like, I don't have to. I don't know. Like the skill tree isn't like that crazy. I don't have to worry about like accidentally selling something that I might need to craft something in the future. I love that just quick selling all my valuables is the only option because keeping them doesn't really do anything. I don't know. I love this game so much just because of how simple it is for an RPG. I hate RPGs that are just like way too in depth, personally. So yeah, that's just why I'm loving this game so much. And the combat feels awesome. The parrying is awesome. It's so good. The graphics though are really cool to me because to me it looks like a Fable game. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't even feel like I didn't play the last Dragon Age game, but from what I've seen of it, it doesn't look like that. It's a different art style almost.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it almost looks like a Fable game. So, and I love Fable a lot.
What's the hand to face ratio?
Oh.
Because that was the thing with Fable. They got big hands, just like Dishonored.
Yeah,
It's got a weird thing for hands being like 10% too, quote unquote, too big.
I don't
Yeah,
think the
play
hands
Dishonored.
are too
Those
big.
guys' hands are way too big. And
Yeah,
you can't
what a
play the
bad game.
anymore.
What a bad game, Dishonored. No
To
one
be
likes
fair,
this game.
Dishonored is a game where you see way more hands than you do in most games, right?
That's true. That's true.
For me,
I didn't play this game, so somebody else talk.
Yeah, no, Veilguard, I adore it. Here's the thing for me, it's, we're talking a little bit about BioWare, getting back to BioWare. It feels a lot like Mass Effect 2, where it's like, okay, the story is relatively simple, what you're going after, and then it's
building a
just like,
team.
this thing is like, we're good at writing characters, so how about we build a team, and all the companions are really, really cool, and that's what we're working towards. And I'm like, that's great. That's the stuff I love from BioWare. So, yeah, and especially I think the combat's a big upgrade from past Dragon Age games because I played all the Dragon Age games and I just prefer this combat over those. It's definitely more action than strategy, but it's really good. And again, they went back to nailing companions are great because like I don't hate Andromeda as much as a lot of people do, but it's like
I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat. I agree.
It's fine. I don't think it's the worst thing of all time, like they were saying. But it's like this feels more like quote unquote old school BioWare. It's like, oh yeah, I really like all these characters. This crew is great and wonderful. And the romance times, really good too. I love my romance. I'm not.
Oh, thank God.
I'm not messing around. We're gonna, forever.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I'm not gonna tell you anymore.
Looping back and forth forever.
I'm ready to talk about it further, but I haven't beaten it yet. Also, so I don't really. It's not at my game of the year. It's not my number one, but it has been one of my favorite games to play so far this year. There's like a couple
Adam's
things that's holding
beaten it multiple times, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I'm so thankful, and I think like to Adam's point, they just sort of simplified. Like I just want BioWare to continue to do the games like this. I don't need open world. I don't need filler. Just make great, compelling characters, choices that matter. And so far, I will say my only critique and why it's not number one for me. Some of the writing, some of the choices don't seem as like, I don't know, like as impactful or as serious, like the tone's not as serious. And I've seen a few people say that, and I sort of feel that a little bit too. But I keep hearing, long as I keep going, like there's just a few quests that are left that will definitely make me feel like the payoff's there. That's the only thing like holding it back from being number one. But other than that, like I love the direction BioWare's taken, simplifying gameplay, changing it up, making it more approachable. And yeah, for the most part, like I love talking to all the characters. Just some of the conversations, I'm like, just like one-offs, like 1 out of 5 combos. I'm like, that was a little cheesy or unnecessary, but I don't know. That's my only critique. But overall, like, I'm having a great time playing it, and I haven't had fun playing a BioWare game in a really long time. So
I'm just glad it's devoid of filler.
Cool,
like,
cool. Any other thoughts?
So much in Andromeda was just terrible. Like, I like when I got to Companion Quest in Andromeda, I really enjoyed some of those. Were like, I mean, just delightful after hours and hours of chasing stuff around the map that was like repetitive. This one, I feel like moves the story along at a better clip, and you get to spend time with characters and care about them more. In a nice little rotation where it's like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with this homie for a little bit, and like we're going to learn about more of what makes them tick, and maybe where their like past trauma lies, and the choices. My God, there's been a couple I have not finished either. I guess I'm probably about the halfway mark or so, where it's like, no, I don't like. This is not easy. I think that's like indicative of a good like choice. Is I don't really want to choose either because I feel really bad about what's going to happen no matter what I decide, right? So, yeah, it's just nice to have that again. Gives me the warm and fuzzies. Mass Effect 2 is one of my favorite video games, so all for it.
That's me slurping it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Brian for a second because I was looking at the screen.
Me too.
That came from my throat.
I got a good guess on what number 1 is, Cozy.
Ooh. Do you want to guess it, or do you want to? Because
I think we're the only ones who play Dragon Age, the people who talk. So yeah.
If you get this wrong, you have to leave Respawning Fire forever.
Okay.
Oh shit! Stakes.
If we're going by Cozy logic, it's a game he played in 2017. Breath of the Wild is the number 1 game of 2024. No, I'm kidding. We know what it is. It's a little fucker.
Pokemon Black, baby.
That little sexy fucker. Put him up on the screen.
Let's reveal what it is. Number 1.
Show me that little rabbit.
Astrobot.
Oh yeah, what a bot!
Nah, nah, nah. I am Astrobot.
Somebody clip that.
What a great little game this was. I will excuse me. Sorry, got a little coffee going on. I will say, as much as I did enjoy this game, I did come out of the end of it being like, man, I do wish that like we collectively as a society were like onto these games a little bit sooner, because Astrobot Rescue Mission on PlayStation VR and Astro's Playroom were both great as well. I think that this game is the culmination of all these games and the best of the 3. But both those 2 games are really, really good as well. And it does make me, as happy as I was that this game won Game of the Year at the Game Awards, it is still, I think we do still have some work to do that a game like Astro's Playroom, or rather Astrobot Rescue Mission on PlayStation VR, that kind of game could never get nominated for a Game of the Year award, even though I feel like it probably was deserving of it the year it came out. And so, yeah, all that to say, love this game, but I think there's also a world of other great Astrobot games out there that I think more people need to play and enjoy, because this boy has been making fantastic adventures for quite a few years now. Well, I guess nobody has anything to say about Astrobot.
Fun ass game. I loved it.
This game's a ton of fun. And for me, what gauges a great game is my wife, who is not a gamer like at all. If she wants to play a game, like I have to play it, right? And she fucking loves
Except when she takes
Astrobot.
Mario into the room. Like Mario Wonder, we tried to play with her and she said, no, I'm going to go take this play by myself because y'all are fucking me up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We did try playing Mario. I completely forgot about that. Chad was over and we tried playing Mario Wonder and she was like, you guys are ruining my save. So this is not, I'm not having a good time anymore. But yeah, Astrobot. Anytime I can play a game with her, it's just, it's a very special game because it's rare, right? Because she doesn't play video games. I play video games constantly. So it's a great game. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, I think this game is just a joy to play. Like, I think it deserves the nomination. I do feel like it's a little indicative of like maybe the vote got split like all over the place. Like here at the Game Awards, like I think a lot of people probably felt not too passionately about a lot of games that were very good this year. I don't think this would win in a stronger year, and that's not a knock against it.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I do have some statistics that I'm eager to share once we get through the top 10.
Okay.
I was going to ask what the
saying,
totals were for these games in terms of points, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, once we get through the top 10, I'll share the facts.
But yeah, it was a really, really good time. I did 100% this. I just found it delightful. It's a love letter to PlayStation IP. I think like mechanically, so many of the levels were just really, really cool. Nothing overstayed its welcome. And I just like that there's like costume platformers still that are successful and resonate with people. It's such a cool genre, and something that's not just Mario or Sonic too. You know, like yay, like we have like another contender, and I hope they keep making games for a long time because they're very good at it.
Also, don't sleep on the Christmas content. It was good as shit.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Free Christmas World. Yeah. Adam, did you
played that yet?
Get done throwing up?
No, I got done peeing for the 4th time.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Hey, plus for the DualSense, DualSense, the integration with that, even the microphone on the DualSense being a part of the gameplay, everything about it. Everything about this game is fucking brilliant. Love it.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a favorite level?
Is truly great. Ooh, the bathhouse level where you're like a sponge dude and it's a dual mechanic where you can absorb water and then you can basically disperse the water that's from your body, but while you still have the water inside you, you're gigantic and you just smash through anything you walk into. That level is really good.
It's like
I like the casino level.
Oh, the casino level.
Oh, yeah.
Time stopping
very
mechanic.
Vibrant.
Time slowing mechanic, rather. That was really good.
I just fucking love that the time slowing mechanic was PSVR 1. Like he puts on PSVR 1 and everything slows down. That was such a cute little nod.
To how bad the PSVR 1 is.
Wow. And yeah, I think
that's our game of the year, y'all.
That's it.
Yeah. We did it. We did it. There's a few more things that we got to do. Number one, Joel, you were alluding to it earlier. I have a few statistics that I want to share about our top 10 list. There was only one game on our top 10 list that got 2 10s, and there was also only one game on our top 10 list that got a total of 40 or more points. And that game was Astrobot. Ooh. I know you alluded earlier that maybe Astrobot might have been a game that split the vote, but Astrobot won in first place pretty handily. The game in our number 2 spot, Dragon Age of the Veilguard, by comparison got 34 points. It was the only game in the 30-point range, but still quite a bit of a drop-off from there. And then both Balatro and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth legitimately tied in third place with 28 points. The game that the most people voted on, including honorable mentions, because I had some people send in some honorable mentions, was Balatro. A total of 6 of us all put that game on our personal lists. If honorable mentions are excluded, both Balatro and Astrobot tied, with 5 of us putting it on our top 10 lists. There were a total of 39 individual games that were included across all of our various lists. Many of these were games that only appeared on lists once, although you did have a few games here and there, like Thank Goodness You're Here, which appeared on a couple of our lists a couple of times. And so earlier, at the very, very beginning, Chris, I said to you that I was very grateful that you were here, very grateful that you decided to join us for this episode. I'm very grateful for your top 10 list. The reason why is ahead of time, ahead of me doing this episode, I was like, hey, listen up. If you guys have to make any last minute changes, last minute adjustments at the very last minute, don't be afraid to send them in, even if it's like a day before us doing this recording. And Chris, the day before, you were like, hey, I'm going to make a slight adjustment. I want to put Indiana Jones and the Great Circle at number 6 on my personal top 10 list instead of whatever it was at before. And you doing that saved me so much work, because originally, before you made that last minute change, the 10th place was going to be a 3-way tie between Metaphor Refantasio, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, and Neva. And so because of that, I saved a lot of time not having to do a bunch of asset changes. With that out of the way...
Real MVP right there.
The last thing that I've prepared is just a quick little opportunity for us to visit some of our personal top 10 lists and go over some of the games that we have played over the top 10 year that we thought were awesome enough to put on our top 10 lists. I mean, a lot of these are games that we've already talked about so far, so I won't go necessarily super in-depth. At the very top of my list was Metaphor Refantasio, a game that I spent many months playing, and then eventually ultimately managed to beat just like a week ago. This game is fantastic, and I've already talked about it a lot on the podcast, so I won't waste too much time here. Number 2 is Balatro. Number 3 was Dave the Diver, a game that technically did not release this year, but that I played for the first time this year, thanks to the magic of PlayStation Plus. I thought this game was just a whole lot of fun. Number 4 was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Number 5 was Astrobot. Number 6 was a game that we played as part of BARF that I never would have anticipated would show up on this list at the end of the year, was Signalis, or however it is that you pronounce it. This is a really evocative horror game that I still think about quite a bit to this day. I don't know necessarily when I'm going to play it next, but it's a game that I constantly find myself thinking back to because of how weird and unique and strange and, intriguing it was. Number 7, Vampire Survivors, another game that did not release this year. But that did receive a lot of new content updates this year, including Operation Guns, which was their Contra update, and their Ode to Castlevania update as well. This is also my first time playing it on PlayStation, so you know that I enjoyed getting 200 plus trophies in this game this year. Number 8 was Let's Revolution, a game that we discovered together at PAX East, made by a bunch of former animators. This game was a really relatively simple, but I think very fun time. And I had fun playing through this game both on its PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 SKUs. Number 9 was Thank Goodness You're Here, which was a fun little comedy. What's the word that was used for it? Like a
slapformer.
Slapformer. There we go. Thank you, Adam. Short, simple, to the point. And number 10 is the most recent game that I've played and beaten on this list, Emio, The Smiling Man, which is the third game in the Famicom Detective Club game series. I don't think I even... No, I did. Actually, I did talk about this on Respawning Fire, but I had not beaten it at the time that I talked about it. This game goes places in its final few hours that genuinely shocked me, and I thought ended the game on a really nice, albeit sad bow. And it's certainly not a Nintendo game that I will soon forget about. In a world where a lot of Nintendo games tend to be very carefree, happy-go-lucky, and positive, this game was very dour and shocking, but in a way that I found very satisfying to experience. Adam, tell us a little bit about your top 10 list.
Oh, let me remember what I did. So there's my top 10 list. Number 1, Balatro. Again, fantastic game. It's just so simple and so good. Hades 2. Again, even early access, I'm like, this is easily a top 3. Veilguard. Again, I like BioWare going back to their roots. Esports College Football. I put it number 4 because I'm like, it needs to be on this list because I played it so much, but how high? And I settled number 4. Fire Prince of Persia Lost Crown. Easily my favorite Metroidvania I played this year. We've talked about that already. Number 6, Marvel Rivals. I always feel weird about putting December games on here because it's like how much recency bias is there. But let me tell you, Joel talking about we play Esports College Football every day. Let me tell you, I was playing Marvel Rivals every day. I do not stop. The game is fantastic, and I'm super into it. So here's the thing. This is interesting for Chris's list. So number 7 is Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I haven't played a full Call of Duty in a long time. Adored it. All the modes, the zombies, the campaign, multiplayer. It's a good year to be on Game Pass because I enjoy the game a lot. I just finished Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and Cozy messaged me yesterday like, what are we doing with Indiana Jones? I'm like, I'm going to leave it because, again, I just beat it like 2 days ago. But like that game came out of nowhere. That game is like especially my shit. I was like, I actually kind of really fucking like Indiana Jones. So it could have gone up a spot. I don't know if that would have changed our list or made it difficult for Cozy with a 5-way tie or whatever. But 7 Call of Duty, 8 Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is great. Like if you like Indiana Jones the movies, or if you like a Dishonored or a Hitman type game, it's a very good one of those. It's excellent. The story's great. It's basically another movie. Number 9 is Sumerian 6. Which is the Devolver Digital game that is another game where you fight Nazis, but it's a stealth kind of tactics game. I liked it way more than I thought I would, because, I get a lot of games, not a lot, I get a couple games every year for a review, but that one kind of stuck with me, and I was like, this is like really, really cool. You have superpowers and kill zombies in the 40s. It's a good time. And then my number 10 was Thank Goodness You're Here. That game is such silly, goofy British humor, the video game for 3 hours, and it's excellent. And I think everyone should check that out. Again, if you've got 3 hours to spend, do that. So that was my full list for the year. I also don't put games I don't play on it. So there's probably things like Astrobot and stuff. You're like, why is this not on here? Like if I didn't play or didn't finish it, I don't feel like putting on the list. So obviously, I don't think Astrobot is not a top 10 game. I'm just not putting games that I don't play or finish. So that's the games that I played.
Play Astrobot?
No. I don't have time for everything. Wow. I mean, I also play Metaphor, but I only played 8 or 10 hours of it. And I'm like, I like this, but I have not beaten or put 70 hours into it, so I don't feel right putting it on my list. That's just how I personally like to do my list. It's like I need to play it a lot or beat it to put it on my list. It's just a personal thing. So that's my top 10.
I will say, with regards to Indiana Jones, right now in my spreadsheet, Indiana Jones has a total of 8 points. And the 10th game on our list, Animal Well, had 12 points. So it would have needed at least 5 points, 5 more ranks for it to have potentially made a crack.
Ooh, I was going to put it number 3. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It would have been the same. It would have been the same.
What could have been? What could have been? Chad, tell us a little bit about your list.
So I went back and forth on number 1 and 2 a lot. My number 1 right now is Black Myth Wukong. Number 2 is Astrobot. And I just like those any day you could interchange those. But yeah, I ended up with Black Myth on top. Maybe tomorrow, based on that CEO and who he is, I'll switch it back. Who knows? Obviously, Rebirth number 3, Destiny 2 Final Shape, I think it's fantastic, is up there. Number 5 is a game that has a little bit of recency bias, like Adam was talking about. But it's a game that came out 6 years ago that I've never heard of. And I just happened to accidentally stumble across it in like browsing Apple Arcade. And I was like, what the fuck is this? It was like recommended because you downloaded Dead Cells or whatever. And it's Dandara. And it's a game that has been out forever and is a Metroidvania platformer. It kind of gives me a little bit of like Celeste mixed with Metroid Prime. But the reason that it's not Metroid Prime, fucking Super Metroid, this one.
Yeah.
But the reason it's so high on this list is because it is the best phone controls I think I've ever played ever. Like, even counting things like Pokemon TCG Pocket, like those types of, like any mobile game you've ever played, this hasn't, like, this controls well. And I don't know whether it was developed for that specifically and then ported to PS4 and Xbox, who knows? But it's just like swipe gestures left and right. That left is, shooting your shit. So it's like a twin stick kind of thing, shooting whatever thing you have equipped at the moment. And then right is traversal, moving platform to platform. And it is just, it is so seamless and wonderful. I don't know how it plays on controller or whether I would even like it on controller, but it's fucking incredible on iOS.
That's cool.
Neva, beautiful game. I probably would have rated it higher if I hadn't played, what was their last game? Grease. I feel like Neva would have hit me harder if I hadn't already had Grease. I was like, oh yeah, this is just another excellent game from this. But so yeah, absolutely, everyone go play Neva. Helldivers 2 is my number 7. Balatro number 8. Pokemon Black here coming in at number 9, everybody. Twist! Like, that game, it's not my favorite Pokemon game, but it is by far the coolest story and presentation of that story that I've ever seen in a Pokemon game. Granted, I haven't beat a lot of the recent Pokemon games, but yeah, the end of that game goes hard. And then Animal Well was my 10th game because I had a hard time coming up with a list of 10 whole games that I played this year that weren't Hunters Don't Wear Ties. And so Animal Well is there by default. And that's my list.
Oh man, can you imagine a world where you didn't play Animal Well and you had to put Plumbers Don't Wear Ties at number 10? What a trade-off.
No, I would have put Kerbal Space Program because I was supposed to play that, but I didn't. But it would have anything to put above Plumbers Don't Wear Ties.
Put
Oh man,
hell, I would have booted up college football just so I could have had something else to put on there.
Did Joel play Plumbers Don't Wear Ties? Let's find out right now.
I did, but you know damn well that's not on my list. So my number 1 was Astrobot, basically because I was able to play that with my wife. It was a ton of fun. Number 2 is Dragon Age. I feel like once I beat this game and complete it, this might move up to number 1. It's definitely possible. But yeah, love that game. Destiny 2, The Final Shape. Anytime our raid group can come together with a new Destiny expansion and just binge play through it in like a day or two is a ton of fun. But this story being as good as it was, this DLC, it definitely amplified it even more. So that's on here. Helldivers 2, way too many stupid moments in that for me not to put it up here. College football, I played a lot of it. That's the main reason it's on this list is, like Adam said, probably my most played game this year by far. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I love Final Fantasy. I just got to get back to completing this. I think I'm like halfway through this game. Yeah, that's here. Black Ops 6. This game, if you had told me a year ago Call of Duty was going to be on my top 10 of this next year, I would not believe you because it's not a game I typically play. Usually I'll wait for it to go on like Super Sale and I'll pick it up and play some multiplayer, maybe an hour or two of the campaign and that's it. But this being on Game Pass definitely helped it in my eyes because I would not have played that campaign if it wasn't on Game Pass. And once I started the campaign, it just kind of hooked me. And it was a great, great story. So love it. Neva at number 8. This game, it's a beautiful looking game. The story is great. It like really hits you in the feels. It's not a long game either. I love a short game like this. It was only like 3.5, 4 hours. Ton of fun. And number 9, I put Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket because that is a game I'm just addicted to. I'm opening that every morning. I wake up and I open that app before I do anything else. This morning I woke up, new packs were out, and East Coast people were already sending, like Chad, Dallas, and Matt were already ripping the new packs, sending me pictures of cards they opened. And I was like, oh fuck, I forgot that was today. Immediately opened 20 packs in the game. So yeah, that's on here. I'm addicted. The gameplay of that is so much fun too. It's a simplified version of the Pokemon trading card game, which I think helps because those games can take forever sometimes if you're playing the actual card game. And number 10 at Animal Well. I just love the style of this game, and yeah, that's my top 10.
Hell yeah! And next up is Cherica.
I'm going to be honest. I really don't want to read through my list, and I misunderstood some rules, so I'm so bummed. I'm ready to go play Dragon Age, to be honest, and then I don't want to read through because, like,
we can move on. There's no obligation.
I didn't include a lot of games that I played this year because I didn't realize they needed to be from. I didn't know I could pick other games, so I apologize because I would have definitely had Dave the Diver on here.
Yeah, Dave Diver's good.
Damn.
But Jericho, I'm with you. I played more games that weren't for 2024, but I personally only put 2024 games on my list as well.
I didn't know.
That's just
I
a
didn't
choice.
know.
By the way, talked about UFO 50 though, because no one else had that on their list.
I did.
So far.
Okay, so
that's a good game.
But there's a blessing in disguise with my inability to read instructions. I'll say this: like in the last 2 weeks, your girl's been playing a lot of games that came out this year. You know, it forced me to do that. So. Yeah, I'll speak to some of the games that aren't on people's list. So UFO 50 was something that was announced or shown off, I think, like earlier this year at some showcase. And I thought it was a really cool concept because, like, smaller studio just making like 50 random retro games, basically just like Super Nintendo games. And I've been trying to, like, each day, like, just play another game. Like, I'm not playing all of them at once, but like just picking one to see how it is. And like out of the 5, I've only played 5 out of the 50, but at least 2 have been experiences that I'm like, this is neat. This is fun. I might just, if I just want to play a quick game before going to work or I don't know, like when I only have like 10 minutes to spare, I might pick some of these up, or just pick one. But it's cool because you got 50 whole games in one, and I think, and I don't know if that's cool or not. No, I don't know if a lot of people are doing that. And they all look great in HD. It's an old looking game, but it like fills up my whole monitor, and it's just like gorgeous. So I don't know if all those games are bangers, but I'm sure there's at least a handful that are really cool and unique. I don't remember any of the names. Sorry. I need to write those down. And then another game that I put in my 10th spot, and I'm going to butcher this lady's name, but I think it's Lorelei. I'm going to say Lorelei. And her laser eyes. I actually took a photo because I wanted to read it out loud to this group. So this game is all about being smart. So why the hell am I playing it? But I'm intrigued. It like tells you like, oh, it's you're gonna have to use math, and I'm like, why am I purchasing this? But the way that you go about solving the puzzles is something I've never seen before in a video game, and then the art style is just like stunning and beautiful and just sex for my eyes. Like I love how the game's design is so pretty, and the music's good. Let me find this. I took a screenshot and I thought I saved it. Hold on. Let me go through. There's a few memes in here. I should have had this ready. Okay. So in the game, you're just like, you got your character that you control, but basically it's almost like not a point and click, but you click objectives to explore them. And then you can choose like to read things, figure out clues. Basically, you're at this hotel. You don't really know why yet, but you're meeting someone important. But I chose to like open the car because my character just parked. I opened the glove box and there was an instruction manual for the game. And it says, before playing, what really happened at this hotel? Who are the other visitors? The goal of this game is to find out the truth. To get the most out of the game, play in a quiet and dimly lit environment. So I immediately made it darker in here. Sort of helped. It said how to have a pen and paper. Have pen and paper ready. I did. I followed the instructions. And then it also says the game requires knowledge of real life systems like a 24-hour clock. Chad?
Oh no.
I was like, maybe I shouldn't have bought this game. Roman numerals, which I'm actually not too bad at. And other such like concepts. I was like, okay, let's see how far she gets. Parts of this game deal with some sensitive subjects, themes, player discretion advised. And then that just sold me. I'm like, yes, sign me up, Scotty. But I played about 45 minutes to an hour just trying to see like, okay, how hard is this? Is going to be something I get really bored with. But no, y'all, it had me doing math. It had me using a calculator. I solved 3 of the puzzles already. So your girl ain't as derpy as she thought. It's fun. It's definitely a unique experience. And I just got to beat Dragon Age so I can play some of these other games. But I'm going to get back to it because I really want to know. It's enough ambiguity to the story where I'm just really interested. It's like, I got to know the end. I got to know what's going on here. I'm so, and I'm invested with having no knowledge. So yeah, I want to add that to my list because it's pretty cool. Cool concept. I'm done. I'm sorry I didn't read through my list, but I think we've all touched on these
talked about
games.
the good ones.
Thank you so much.
That's okay.
I
Anytime.
am so excited to talk about our next person's list because our next person is Brian. And Brian, you have quite the list.
Oh, I love this list. It's wild.
That's because I don't play modern games. I play games.
Vertigo.
When Brian sent me
What?
his list, I asked him, is that a video game or are you putting a movie on this list? But
It's a game.
I'll let Brian explain himself.
Number 1, Helldivers 2. Number 2, Gloomhaven. Now, for those who don't know, Gloomhaven is a 45-pound tabletop game. But it's huge and it's expensive. But they digitized it and they did a fucking great job. And this is another game that I would play with my family on the weekend before Helldivers 2 released. And currently, while I have 278 hours into Helldivers, I have 157 hours in Gloomhaven. Whoa. So it's a big deal for me. The gist of it is each of your characters, it's a co-op, and you go on these little missions. Each of your characters has ability cards. Here's the interesting thing about the game. It's the ability card is divided top and bottom with 2 sets of abilities, and you got to pick one each turn. And one might be movement, one might be attack. Maybe there's a combination of the two, but you got to like strategically choose which ability on the card you're going to use. And then as you play through the mission, your cards slowly get burned one at a time until finally your deck gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So there's a little bit of a time limit there. And you have to be strategic about which cards you're going to get burned because they're gone for the rest of that mission. Super cool. Super interesting. Next up, number 3, Earth Defense Force 6.
Oh, sorry. Can I just say real quick with regards to Gloomhaven? So earlier I talked about how initially the 10th spot on the list was going to be a 3-way tie between Metaphor, Elden Ring, and Neva, because those 3 games all got a total of 10 points. Directly underneath them would have been Gloomhaven with 9 points. Gloomhaven was going to be the 11th spot on the list.
Why? Just because of me?
Just put it up there. That's how math works.
Weird. Anyway.
That's Jerica and Lorelai.
Yeah.
If anybody has played any Earth Defense Force games, you know how silly and campy they are. The way that people think of Godzilla movies from the Showa era, where the lip syncing doesn't match the lips and how hokey they are. That's basically Earth Defense Force 6 on a grand scale, where you're getting attacked by alien spiders and ants and robots and all kinds of stuff. It's not too unlike Helldivers 2, but it's definitely a different tone of humor. Very campy, less tongue-in-cheek. And if you've played Earth Defense Force 4.1 and 5, you know what you're getting with 6. But there's just more, and it's hilarious. I'll tell you one of their more famous jokes in the game, and they play it all pretty straight-faced, but there's these aliens that invade Earth, and they're giant frogs. I mean, they look like giant walking frogs with bionic limbs and stuff. And the people are in the military that are on the comms units talking to each other. They're like, "Oh my gosh, they look like us. 2 limbs, 2 bipedal, 2 arms, 2 legs. They look exactly like us." And you're like, "What the fuck, dude?" Very, very silly game. Tons of fun. Tons and tons and tons of weapons. Each time you level up to a harder difficulty, you unlock new weapons, so there's lots of replay value. Number 4, God of War 2018. Just damn good. I think everybody is familiar with God of War 2018. There's not a whole lot that I can probably say about it, but I'm catching up. I'm going to play Ragnarok next. Amazing story, amazing combat, amazing scale. How the hell did the devs get a whole ass bridge to move like a clock and the environment and everything? It's just an amazing feat. And then the giant titan monsters and the snakes and everything that's moving while you're on it. It's just incredible. Number 5, Remnant 2. Another game I played with my family on the weekends for a window of time.
You have such a cool family.
That's so dope, man.
Brian!
Oh yeah, my mom doesn't play these. Remnant 2 was dark and spooky at times. It's just a third-person shooter. Great classes. You can unlock cool weapons. Got lots of different kind of styles throughout as far as levels go and environments and creatures and stuff you fight. Not a whole lot to say about it. It's not like a groundbreaking in terms of the genre. It's just really well made and lots of fun.
I played that
Number
last year.
6.
It's really cool. I like Remnant 2 a lot.
Yeah, super dope.
Yeah, co-op is great.
It's great. Number 6, Hades 1. And Cozy had to clarify with me. He was like, "You're sure this isn't Hades 2?" And I was like, "No, I'm just catching up, man. Games are cheaper when you play 5 years behind." Lots of fun. I don't have much to say about it that hasn't been gone over with the conversation about Hades 2. But I will say the more that I played Hades and started to learn the mechanics of the game, I thought, "Oh shit." I just kept thinking that to myself, like, "Oh, I get it now. Like this is, and then if I do this, it affects this." And like, every time I replayed and started to learn how the game works, I started to realize this is actually a big game. It's not just a silly, whatever you call those games. What are those games called?
Roguelites.
Yeah.
Number 7, the curious one, Alfred Hitchcock Vertigo. This is a game by a company from Spain, which is weird. And
weird companies in Spain. Wild.
Well, weird that like a Spanish company would make such an iconic American movie game. I have never played a Telltale game, but I'm pretty sure that this is similar in concept. It's mostly story, and you can make choices along the way. So in terms of gameplay, there's not much there to be said. But as far as story goes, this is a banger, man. And the music. The music in this game is so beautiful and so old-timey, like it's so reminiscent of Alfred Hitchcock music. And the story takes you on a roller coaster. At first, getting into it, I thought maybe this voice acting is a little amateur, but it picks up. So if you're going to play it, give it a chance because it gets damn good. Number 8 was...
Can I ask you, because Vertigo is my favorite film of all time. Like, does it follow like the film? I'm just very curious about... I read about this game being made, but I know nothing about it.
That's something I should have mentioned because I wondered the same thing going in. I just saw good reviews and I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. I like Vertigo. This is not Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, not really.
That's awesome.
Why? Silly me.
This is an original story that takes themes and a lot of homages paid to Alfred Hitchcock's, and not just Vertigo, but all of his movies, but specifically Vertigo. It takes a lot of themes, and they write their own story with it. So
this sounds like my shit. I own like 40 books, no shit, about Alfred. I was obsessed for like my entire 20s with like his work. So you've sold me. That sounds awesome.
So my playthrough, and I did beat it. It was 11 hours total, so it's not a huge commitment. And just go in understanding that you're just going to be making choices along the way. There's not a lot of gameplay involved, but as far as story goes, it's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Number 8, Animal Well. I said what I need to say about that, so we'll jump to number 9, which was Blasphemous 2. I've played a good chunk of this game. I don't know. I didn't feel like I played enough of it to really merit putting it high on the list, but it feels enough like the first Blasphemous, which I did beat, to merit being on the list, because I thought I've loved what I've played so far, and if it's anything like the first game, it's a game that I would put on a list like this. Very difficult and challenging. The first one took me so many tries. Here's a funny thing about the first one. I would watch videos about how to beat the bosses towards the very end because they were getting so hard, and the people were like, "Oh, you just do this, and you win." And I would do that and think, "I'm not winning." Like what? And I looked it up, and they did an update that made all the bosses harder since the first release when all the videos were made. So I was like, this is one moment where jumping on the bandwagon too late it's a curse. It's so fucking hard. I eventually did beat it. I intend on beating Blasphemous 2, but similar to Animal Well, I'll do it eventually. I had other things to do this year for gaming. Last of all, number 10, Cereza and the Lost Demon, which is a spin-off from the Bayonetta series, the Bayonetta trilogy. This is on my list. This is on my list as a beautiful art piece. Gameplay mechanics are interesting. I have heard that this is not the first game to do this, but it's the first game I've ever seen and played that did this, where you have Cereza, the little girl, and you have this demon pet that she's captured and got control of. And you control each character simultaneously in a top-down environment with each thumbstick inside of the controller. So Cereza's on the left side and the demon's on the right side. And it's really a mind fuck for sometimes, especially when you're trying to do cooperative puzzles with the two characters and you're like trying to use both hands at the same time, like difficult coordination, really interesting. And then the art is just gorgeous. The music's gorgeous. If it was just for gameplay, I probably wouldn't put it on this list, just because it's overall pretty simple, not that challenging, and does kind of overstay its welcome a little bit in terms of the gameplay. But as an art piece, it's beautiful. They did a fantastic, wonderful job in that regard. So I put it on my list. And that is all for my top 10.
Hell yeah.
Can you play that Alfred Hitchcock music again?
Please do. No? No. Well, maybe we'll get an encore at the very end. Before that, Chris, tell us a little bit about your top 10 list.
Yeah, so I will recite all the entries, but anything we talked about, I'm gonna kind of just breeze through for the sake of time. Number 1, Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erd Tree. It's well known if you've ever talked to me that I'm a Souls guy, I'm a From guy. I'm currently working on a From Software sleeve on my arm.
Oh, sweet.
About halfway done. I'll show it off here at the end, maybe. Love From games, and I'm not a gatekeeper. I say play it how you want, make it as easy as you want, summon, do all the stuff. It doesn't matter. I just love the lore, the designs of the environments, the enemies, all that stuff. And this game gave me everything I wanted from a DLC. It challenged me in ways that the base game doesn't anymore now that I've beat it, and I just had a great time exploring and getting my ass kicked over and over. Next, we have Hades 2, which we talked about. Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which we talked about. Prince of Persia, we talked about. Astrobot, we talked about. Indiana Jones. So I'm working my way through this game. I echo a lot of what Adam said. I think it's a fabulous Hitman sandbox style game, and I kind of gauge my level of enjoyment with a game of how inclined I am to take my time and really just soak it in. This is a game I'm taking my time. Like I feel no rush or urgency as I move through the environments and experience the story. I like solving the puzzles, exploring the different areas, some of which I've visited in real life. Like that's always kind of cool to like go, oh, like I've actually been to that place, and seeing it like authentically represented in a digital space is very, very cool. And I can't wait to see how it all shapes up. Troy Baker nailed his indie.
Oh my god, he's so fucking good, dude.
He's like unbelievably good.
Troy Baker, good actor, guys. If you didn't know.
Yeah. The sound design is great. The music is great. Like really, like I could not be happier for a an IP like adapted to video game form. Like I know like a lot of times when we get licensed games, they're not very good. This is a very good one. So I hope more people play it.
At some point in the game, is there ever an NPC that comes up and says, well, you must be Black Myth Wukong?
I've not experienced that yet, but I hope so now. Speaking of that, that's my 7th game. Destiny: The Final Shape we touched on. Lorelei, I think it's what we decided for the pronunciation, and the Laser Eyes. Wow, what a fantastic just idea. And it's like if David Lynch designed a escape hotel. So it's not an escape room, it's an escape hotel where you have a lot of different styles of puzzles. And I'm very much like Jerica. I'm kind of a big dummy when it comes to some things. So occasionally, like, I'm not afraid to say, like, I've had to like look up like tips and hints to get over some hurdles, like, and to kind of get my brain working in the direction that it wants me to work in. Not looking up solutions necessarily, but like, here's how to think about these types of puzzles. And it's not failed to disappoint. I think it's really, really neat. It reminds me of when I got really big into Inscription the year that came out. And then it was Immortality, right? That's the movie one. Mm-hmm. Where there's like this,
it's cool.
So I just adore it. Like I again, not finished with it, but I've played a fair chunk, and I'm very, very compelled by everything that's on offer. And I hope more people play it over time. Like, I know it's tough when you have all these things competing for your time. I really try to give some indies, some of my attention throughout the year, and I'm very, very glad that I played that one. And then finally, I had kind of tie between Animal Well and Balatro, which we've talked about both of those already. So that rounds out my list.
And that rounds out this episode of the Respawning Fire podcast. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch this live on twitch.tv/AffableIdiots. We had a lot of people in the chat talking to us as this episode was happening, and I just want to say really, really appreciate you guys tuning in. And thank you to all of my various hosts and friends that decided to join us this evening to go down our top 10 lists. Real quick, I'm going to go around the room, give everyone a chance to plug what they're up to, what they're doing, where they can find you on the interwebs, and then we will close out today's episode. Adam.
Catch me on Blue Sky and Twitter at Adam Gumby. Oh, I actually, if you want to, well, I have multiple Christmas things coming out. One of them I'll wait for someone else to get to. I am on a Christmas episode of Sushi Jackknife, which is a podcast, so go check that out. It's a Christmas episode, I'm on it. We do a play. It's fun.
Ooh, very nice. Chad. Ooh, whoops. Sorry, give me a moment. I pressed too many buttons at once.
You got it.
Now I broke it. There we go.
Pornhub.com.
Oh, no. All right, guys.
Why not?
That's it for Chad.
AI Pornhub.
Joel, plug yourself.
You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Campo63.
Pornhub.com.
Dirty.
And also javaclanorg.com.
What?
We are not a
Hell
cult.
yeah. Chad, I will give you another opportunity. Is there anything else that you want to plug outside of your... No.
I want to plug
Guess there's
Joel.
nothing else. Jerica, I apologize that I had to transition to you after that mental image, but is there anything that you would like
Oh, I don't care. I think it's
anything?
great. You could put it before and after. There's probably another joke in there, and I can't. It's too late. You can find me at Jerkachu, jerkin at you. That's how you find me, I guess.
It's so funny how you explain that differently depending on what podcast you're
Depends
on.
the situation. And then at JK Games Podcast, where me and Kayla talk about video games every week. So check us out.
Hell yeah. Brian.
Well, I'm the owner and editor and creator of Time to Die Podcast Network. We have a lot of great actual play shows, and you can find it all at timetodiерpg.com, including an aforementioned Christmas episode DM'd by Adam.
Wow.
He did a terrible job. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It's a nightmare of editing. Anyway, I can't 100% guarantee that'll be out by Christmas, but I'll put in my college try. timetodiерpg.com.
Hell yeah. And finally, Chris.
Yep. So you can find me on Blue Sky and X, Twitter, whatever we call it these days, at It's Waterman. Don't do too much podcasting these days, but I am on Twitch fairly often on both my personal channel, Rental Rush, and then also I compete in a 5v5 arcade game called Killer Queen, which
Nice.
you know, some of you may have played Killer Queen Black. Been doing some travel tournaments. Our scene just got done hosting a charity-driven invitational tournament where we had a lot of people from many different cities to come into Jacksonville to compete and to raise money for the St. Johns River Keepers, which is a foundation that keeps the St. Johns River clean. Really cool thing. And then I'll just for shits and giggles, since I already mentioned it, I'm gonna plug my tattoo artist Tommy Guns, who has started this beautiful tattoo. So I'm gonna see if I can get it up on screen here.
Tommy Guns.
Do it.
Wow.
Wow.
That's the Sekiro man.
Well. You must be Sekiro, man.
That is fucking dope. Are you gonna get?
That's
That was
crazy.
good.
I'll wait for him to get back. I'm like, are you gonna get the witch? Are you gonna get Ranny? You gonna get her?
So to be done still, I'm gonna round out the Sekiro piece with the Demon of Hatred and a burning sort of Japanese village, behind Sekiro, and then the entire upper arm is going to be Millennia versus Radon. So that initial fight in Caelid with some rot and stuff around. I just like I've had a fun time doing the tattoo. It is addictive, so beware, kids. If you ever go to get one, you will want more probably. It's also time consuming and expensive depending on how anal you are, and I'm very, very anal. But I found the right guy, and Tommy's great. So yeah, Tommy Guns on Instagram. He does really amazing portrait work. So if you want to just check out some cool tattoo art, there you go, Tommy. Merry Christmas. That's for you, buddy.
What city and state does Tommy Guns live in?
Yeah, he's in Jacksonville, Florida, as am I. Duval, our football team sucks, but don't worry about it. It's fine. Like, everything's fine. We'll get some good draft picks next year.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Kozik, can I tell everyone my honorable mention that was on my list?
Yes, I did. I was going to mention during setup that I wasn't able to fit the honorable mentions on the list because I just wasn't able to find the space for them. By all means, go ahead.
Number 11, Bananas in Pajamas. It's party time.
Oh my god.
I want to let you know. Go ahead.
Yeah?
I was just going to say, damn, none of this... We're just a train falling off a cliff at this point. You say your thing, I'll say my thing.
This game is like it's either UK or Australian or something, so they have accents, so they sound a little different when they talk. And so he says, they got these teddy bears, and he's like, "All right, it's time to chase these teddies." And you're like, "Chase these what now?" Oh. Are you done chasing your teddies?
Wow. Now I
10 out of 10.
He sold me.
I want to let you know, I put Bananas in Pajamas, It's Party Time, on my Excel spreadsheet where I calculated all the games, and I gave it 0 points, just to make sure that I knew where it stood. And yeah, if you want to find me online, you can find me on Blue Sky. I'm at kozver.bsky.social. Important to note, if you're watching this live, you probably still have time to tune in for the final installment of Kozver's Cooking. The Kozver's Cooking season finale is happening on Wednesday, December 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can tune into twitch.tv/KozverLive and youtube.com/@KozverLive to watch me make some Christmas cookies to spread some holiday cheer as we barrel towards the end of the holiday season. So definitely go check that out. And with that taken care of, that's it. It's over. Have a good rest of your 2024.
In lieu of my musical theme this episode, Cozy, can I do our usual sign-off?
Yes. Go for it.
I want everyone to participate in this. We're all going to do it together. Ready? A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above. With wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God.
Have a good night, everyone. Have a good year.